Oh, let's go. Apple just announced the iPhone Air. And now that suddenly everyone's going to care about thin phones, let's remind you the better choice. The S25 Edge, announced in January alongside the other Galaxy S25 series phones, then released separately in April, got absolutely chastised in the market. Not from me or anyone who actually used it, but from the wider audience of people that never really actually got hands-on with it. People said that nobody asked for it. With Apple answering that question that nobody asked, it's time to show everyone which one's the better choice. It's right here. Starting with the overall design. Apple has got a 5.6mm thin phone with a shiny titanium frame around the outside and a 6.5-inch display in the middle of all of that. There is one area with the display that I'm going to give them the win over the Edge, and that's that it's got an anti-reflective sort of coating or film over it or whatever it is baked into the glass. Edge hasn't got that. I'm just going to maintain that Samsung's biggest failure this year is not putting that display material on all of their phones because it's just so good. In saying that though, the resolution of the Air doesn't match the resolution of the Edge. Quad HD Plus is here. Yes, the iPhone Air is thinner. 0.2mm thinner to be precise. 5.8 over here, 5.6 on the iPhone. But the part that makes the Edge feel incredible isn't necessarily that thickness or thinness, and I've maintained this the whole time. It's the weight. It's a 6.7-inch display that weighs less than the 6.21 on the Galaxy S25 base model, 163 grams. It belies belief. The iPhone Air, which is thinner, somehow is 2 grams heavier at 165 grams. Now, realistically, 2 grams isn't much. You likely won't really notice that feeling in your hands when you're holding the phone. For me, though, it's not the fact that it weighs 2 grams more. It's that it weighs 2 grams more, but you get less inside the phone. Let's look at what I mean by that. Starting with the screen, it's smaller, 6.7 versus 6.5. Now, some people might prefer the smaller display. Lots of people talk about the mini, but I think numbers and sort of sales figures showcase that people actually prefer bigger displays. That's what this gives you. The biggest part, though, is the speaker array. The iPhone Air, with a single speaker, can't compete with the dual speaker setup on the Edge. Now, when I compared the Edge to the Ultra, you already noticed that the speaker system on here took a bit of a hit versus the Ultra. Ultra's got the bigger chamber, can produce louder sound. There is something wrong with the Galaxy S25 Edge. Let's go. The Edge has received a lot of hate. There is something wrong with the Galaxy S25 Edge. Let's go. The Edge has received a lot of hate. I can only imagine the Air with one speaker being even worse in a thinner body versus what we have here with 2. So that's going to be a big problem from a sound point of view, that this will produce better sound. People act like the thinness is going to be the focus. Oh, Apple's is thinner by 0.2, but it's not. It's the weight. The weight has always been the thing that makes this sort of mind-melting in your hand. I also prefer the matte finish on the frame of the Edge versus the glossy titanium one on the Air. They're both titanium though, which is good because you need that tensile strength for a phone that's that thin. Although Apple now just went back to aluminium on their Pro series, which I find hilarious. What else do you get with this 2 grams? Well, you might expect to get a bigger battery from a capacity level, but you don't. The iPhone Air was rumored to have a sub 3000 milliamp hour capacity, but in the last couple of days before the launch and now, I guess more or less confirmed, it has above that. Not by much, like 100 milliamp hours more. And that's going to be a problem. Apple, with their lower sort of capacity batteries, never usually do well. They did cite, and people have spoken about, a higher density battery being in the Air, something that's also in the Edge. But the 3900 milliamp hour capacity here has just done wonders for this phone. I laugh too because Apple announced a only for Air battery pack that will extend the battery life of the Air out. They're obviously ready for the fact that people aren't going to get good battery out of it. Contrary to this, which everyone was expecting bad battery and got good battery. The S25 Edge, with the 3900 milliamp hours and the more sort of optimized cell in here, has done amazing with battery life. And I've been really pleasantly surprised and impressed with what Samsung have been able to do. It's weird. Samsung's numbers get absolutely slammed, whereas 3100 is going to be, that's pretty good for Apple. Doesn't make sense. Something that's on here, that's not on any iPhone yet, is wireless power share. still here on Samsung. Okay, surely you get an upgraded camera experience with this extra 2 grams of weight. Oh, no, you don't. You get 1 camera, but it's marketed as 2 cameras. Hate that, by the way. It's not yet known which camera is in here. Some people are saying it's the same as the 16E camera, and some people are saying it's like a couple of generations ago from the Pro series. No one really knows. Apple don't really tell you. One thing's for sure, it's not the same as their flagship cameras from last year or this year. Samsung with the Edge included 2 cameras. And if you really want to go by Apple's metrics as marketing it as 2 for 1, this could potentially be marketed as 3, with the 200 megapixels being able to crop into 2 and 3 times pretty seamlessly. And it's the exact same main camera as the one from the S25 Ultra, Samsung's flagship range. So you're getting less compromises from a camera standpoint because you get a main flagship camera and a secondary camera, an ultra-wide 12 megapixel dual pixel autofocus, which also supports macro ultra-wide camera. The same one that's on the S24 Ultra from last year. It's not the best ultra-wide camera, but it's an option that it provides you. And it's got macro. It's wild. I know I've said that people buying a thin phone, camera's not going to be their priority. It's going to be about pocketability and sort of in-hand aesthetic. I mean, you still shouldn't have to compromise that much. There's still better value to be had in getting a thin and light phone if you chose the Edge, especially on a camera front. Samsung got smashed for their compromises here. Cameras and battery being a main one, why would I sacrifice cameras for thinness? Well, you're now sacrificing pretty much the overall camera experience in general for that extra thinness on the iPhone. Apple, though, just seemed to skate right on through, which is annoying. Only annoying to me. It's probably not going to matter to anyone else who actually uses phones. I will give Apple props for their new selfie camera. From what I can see, the concept of it is quite intelligent. Having it be sort of landscape whilst being held in portrait, for me, is quite clever. Performance-wise, I think the A19 is going to probably have a higher ceiling than the 8 Elite for Galaxy, but the 8 Elite for Galaxy is a flagship-capable chip, and realistically, in the day-to-day usage of you doing things, you're not going to really notice much of a difference. In fact, even with a chip that doesn't have as high a ceiling, this can actually do more because you've got access to things like Samsung DeX, you've got One UI features like multitasking, and on top of that, you've got all of the good lock customizations that you can activate in here as well. All gets enabled, things like the animation tuning through that chip, and it's capable because of it. The S25 Edge got absolutely slated on its release. Weak battery, weak camera system, and then the question of, well, who actually wanted this? Now that the iPhone Air is out, I'm curious to see the reaction of those same people that blasted this. Because honestly, I don't think they're going to think the same things. I think they're going to use the iPhone and get hands-on with it, and they're going to actually see the benefits of a thin and light phone. Maybe it might be a gateway to accessing this. Who knows? Samsung took a risk here. Being the first to market with a form factor doesn't necessarily always work out, because sometimes you could just throw it out there and the market doesn't know how to respond until like a bigger player comes in over the top and then makes everyone care about it. It's unfortunate, that's just how it works at the moment. One thing I will say is that the iPhone has a bit of a lineup story to tell with the iPhone Air. There's a bit of a vision, or at least a upgrade pathway that Apple offer that sort of show you where you can start and then where you can end up. With the Edge, Samsung kind of just threw it out there separate to the rest of the lineup. Different design language, different sort of camera system. It hasn't really got that cohesion with the rest of the lineup, whereas Apple seemed to have that. But if you isolate the two devices on their own, forget the fact that they sit as part of a lineup, the Edge is just better. Offers so much more for your money. And Samsung didn't waste any time either. They chucked the Edge pretty much on sale immediately as this announcement happened today. So you can get this way cheaper than what you can get the iPhone Air, and you just get way more from it. There's just no questions to be asked on that one. I've put a poll out on my community tab. If you want to see me do a physical comparison between the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the S25 Ultra, like a proper hands-on one, go there and vote. I may regret it, but so far it looks like I'm getting one. Hit subscribe for that, because that's going to be chaos. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. You!